and these are from various European companies and research institutes from Europe. And that is why we are saying that our export will be almost 50% what we have achieved so far, and will continue in the same fashion.
But in that case, just adjusting for that particular raw material inflation which would have impacted our top line movement. But like as you are saying that we are getting a good traction in the LNG fuel station installation, these OMCs are getting got little aggressive in setting that. Then what has, like, just wanted to understand more with more clarity that what would have gone out and what would have incrementally come in this particular revenue, because as you said,
Acharya, let me take this. You have to view our revenue not on a quarterly basis between domestic and export, because every quarter, in some quarters, exports are more and domestic are less, and vice versa. It has to be seen on an annual basis.
Sir, annual basis. So I'm just
the annual basis. Our guidelines are split between domestic and export right now is looking like half on an annual basis.
No, I just
does that answer your question or it doesn't?
It doesn't, sir, because last year, Q3, your domestic revenue is 145 crore, ballpark.
No, I'm saying you can't compare year on year, quarter on quarter cannot be compared.
Okay.
You have to compare annual. Annual means 12 months. Annual does not mean 3 months on 3 months. That cannot be compared in an industry like ours, where some months you will have domestic sale more, some months you will have export sale more. You have to see the 12-month cumulative number. Because 50% of our revenue is non-standard tanks project-based. Right? It depends on revenue recognition methodologies because of Ind AS. There are many factors involved. So you cannot compare Q3 versus Q3, FY24 versus FY23 and look into the export-domestic split in that.
Fine. Point taken.
The guidance is on an annual 12-month cumulative basis, half.
Okay. Just to extend this thing, then if we want to take a little more idea on how we are going ahead or moving for that annual number, what will be then the correct way of understanding our growth trajectory? Because the annual could be a little longer time to get the clear sense how we fare by the year end. But like if you want to track in a better way, in some piecemeal level, then what would be the correct way of seeing that we are on the correct trajectory?
On an EPC, I mean, when you're doing businesses like ours, where 50% of our revenue comes from projects which take 8 to 12 months, and 50% of our revenue comes from standard tanks, it's very difficult to track piecemeal. When the delivery of our product takes more than a quarter.
Good. And then what will be the strongest quarter for us, sir? Then at least that...
There is no strongest quarter. We are not a seasonal business.
Okay. So deliveries can happen all through the year based on how the orders are... Okay.
Absolutely. Deliveries do happen. I mean, for example, this past quarter, we did 295 crores of sales. And our 9-month revenue was also... what is our 9-month revenue, guys?
875.
Sorry, 875. So it's pro rata, as you can see. Almost.
Got it, sir. And just final question is, just wanted to get some update on the LNG fuel tanks as such, which was we were planning for the commercial vehicles, heavy commercial vehicles, where we are in terms of like how the OEMs are looking forward. We had got some initial traction in terms of qualification. Where we stand right now?
Yeah, so I think this is a really futuristic segment, and we are really it's fortunate that we were the first movers in this in India, where we have invested in the line ahead of schedule. We have designed world-class products, and we have got approval of our products from all the OEMs as well. We are definitely seeing a lot of traction on it, in order for the OEMs to buy the tanks, they also need the fuel stations in place, and those fuel stations are coming up as well. So our deliveries are continuing, and we are certainly seeing over the next 12 to 24 months a much larger offtake in this line.
I'd like to add that besides OEM, there are a lot of conversions also happening. Old trucks and buses may be converted from diesel to LNG as a fuel along with the engine. So that much is also happening in many places now. So that will also add a bit to our business.
Fair enough, sir. So that is a further question. I'll join back in the queue. I'll come back later. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and one to ask a question. We have the next question from the line of Pritesh Chedda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
I didn't understand what exactly we will do in the truck side. Basically, we will give them the tanks, or we'll have a whole kit around it.
So we will give the fuel tanks, and the kit suppliers are again we have associated with them. So together it will be fitted into the truck, and basically our supply will be mainly the tank, the fuel tank.
I want to clarify. There are two different parts. For the fresh OEM, we are OEM suppliers of the tank itself. Just for the sake of an example, let's call it Tata. And if they're making a truck, it will be a brand new gas engine based truck where we will be supplying the tank. But in the case of a conversion, it requires a kit supplier as well. So just two different verticals, Pritesh.
Okay.
I've just said that when we say of the LNG tank, tank comes along with its conversion to the regasification. So directly the gas is regasified and delivered to the engine. So the entire system, which is consisting of the storage tank as well as regasification, is packaged together, and that is the package which we will give, whether it is for a new build or for conversion.
Okay. And is it fair to assume that today the LNG business, which is 20% of your business, is largely coming outside India? The India part of the business and the ordering will now start?
So it is both, because you see in India also there is the city gas distribution system which has happened. The part of the trucks getting converted or heavy duty trucks getting converted to LNG is the one which is happening now. But there is also the industrial requirement where people who are not on the pipeline, they get the fuel in the LNG form, that means in the liquid form, and then they have their own regasification on site. Also, there are city gas distribution companies which are not onto the gas pipeline. They have the LCNG stations, which means the liquid CNG station, which are also supplied by us as a cryogenic storage and pumping systems. So this part of the business continues. We expect the growth to happen when the trucks becomes also the long distance truck get converted, and the additional business would come up with the LNG fuel stations as well as LNG fuel tanks coming up on that. Our export market continues for the tanks and the regasification systems that we supply to the global market. Marine is a major market that we keep supplying, and that is for the conversion of the marine fuel from the diesel or any other heavy polluting fuel to the LNG. And we supply the LNG tanks as well as the regasification system which comes along with that.
Okay. And what's your global market share in LNG and India market share?
Actually, this business is so niche and it's very complex. So there is no published data which is available. But what we can say is we are among the first couple of companies which are there in this operation. So there are only few companies with whom we compete globally when we talk about the such regasification systems or the marine applications as such.
Okay. And my last question is this Adani partnership. What does it encompass? What kind of equipment supply does it lead to?
Yeah, the total package system like fueling station, LCNG stations, satellite stations, fuel tanks for the trucks, and basically to support their initiatives in the LNG sector, training them and providing them the technical inputs for their upcoming projects. This is the entire gamut where we'll be working with them.
And when should the ordering to you start?
Ordering has already started. We are recently fueling stations from them now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinayak from Hiremat. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Can you shed some light on beverage keg business?
Yeah, we recently started a plant at Savli in 31 acres of land which is there. So we have put our first 3 shops where we have started manufacturing beverage kegs. And the capacity of this plant is around 1 million, but we will go in step by step. So we have already started manufacturing. The trial production is on, and few commercial production is also started. We have supplied to Belgium, US, and Germany, and the order flow has started coming in now.
How is it picking up, sir? Recently, we had some collaboration with Italian manufacturer, right, sir?
That was the initial collaboration for the technology transfer, and we are working with them continuously on the product development as well as the manufacturing excellence initiatives. So that is we did in on August 23, and it is continued.
So how are the margins in that business, sir?
Yeah, I think we have just started the whole project right now. So it is the initial supplies which are going on. Now we are in the process of making sure that all the line setup and the line balancing is happening. So this is the early stages. I think we can practically see the operations during next financial year. FY25 could give us a certain clear picture, because this year is just the investment which has happened, and we are training our people, and we are just getting the product through in terms of the trial productions, I would say.
My second question is, there is a lot of overlap between Inox Air Products and Inox CVA business, right, sir? Is there any non-competitive agreement between these two companies?
I think there is a little misunderstanding. Let me clarify that Inox Air Products is in the business of setting up the air separation plants and selling the industrial gases, which is liquid oxygen, liquid nitrogen. They would need the capital expenditure in the form of storage tanks, transportation tanks, customer station tanks, and that is the product that we manufacture. The Inox CVA or the Inox India Limited is the one which is a capital goods manufacturing company and which supplies the products to Inox Air Products as well as the competitors of Inox Air Products. So we are able to sell, so there is no competition between the two. We have a relationship of a buyer and a supplier.
And my third question is there any direct benefit from the National Green Hydrogen Mission? I mean, I couldn't see any collaborations between green hydrogen producers as of now, including Air Products. Yes.
In hydrogen production globally is happening at an early stage, where the countries are all getting committed to conversion of the fuel to ultimately to hydrogen, because that is the least polluting or the zero polluting fuel. Now, our business is mainly associated with the distribution of hydrogen, and as the hydrogen generation starts, we are not in the generation of hydrogen, but we are in the storage and distribution of hydrogen. So our business is happening to all those green hydrogen projects which are coming up globally and where they need to store large quantities of hydrogen. And as we had mentioned during the IPO stage also, that the world's largest green hydrogen product or liquefaction plant has come up in Korea, and we have been the supplier of the storage equipment at that particular location. And similarly, we do see there are more opportunities where different projects coming up in the world. We are in a position to bid for them, and we are able to showcase our references to exploit the growing market which will come up. But as everyone knows that this is a long-term play. The projects will come one by one, and we hope to have the continuity of this.
Yes. Sir, one more. Are we looking for any ITER kind of mega projects as of now?
There are similar projects which are coming up. I think the ITER is one extremely large project, but I'm sure when this project becomes successful, or when it comes to the various countries will start looking into their own projects. Even India at some stage will think about making some demo projects or a demo the fusion projects. But we also have other projects which are called big science projects. For example, right now in Germany there is a FAIR project which is coming up, FAIR, and we have already started bidding as well as receiving certain orders for the projects. There is a FAIR project, and we expect similar projects to happen all over the world, and in different locations we will bid for such kind of mega science projects.
Yes, sir. In terms of government projects, if we can a bit compromise on our margin, can we get more projects from the government PSUs kind of?
It's if you're referring to the scientific projects,
non-scientific, sir, general.
General, we have only two areas which we really work with the government, it's in the LNG field and the scientific field. And the third one is, of course, hospital requirements. The government business, as you would know, will always go for a tendering, and the tendering happens between the selected products. So it is.
That's what I was asking. Whether are we going to compromise margins in order to get more projects from the governments?
Like this, that when you
any aggressive plan towards it?
Yeah, actually, our intention for bidding at every government tender is to win the tender, and the winning the tender price is one of the criteria. And we have to see that we meet all the specifications, and we focus our manufacturing cost to be the lowest possible thing. So while protecting our margin, we would be in a position to win these kind of businesses. So it's our effort all the time, and we do win a high percentage of the government orders by our strategy.
Aggressive strategy. No. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjeev Damani from SKD Consulting. Please go ahead.
Namaskar, sir, and congratulations on the very fine performance that you have shown, sir. Actually, I just wanted to thoroughly understand things to my level. So, I mean, hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you. Are we simply mechanical erectors of tanks, or some technologies are also involved in making this so as to, making it almost non-competitive from other small or big workshops? Can you kindly answer me this?
Yes. So I think what we do is we manufacture these tankages for storage of liquefied gases which are extremely low temperature. That's why we call them as a cryogenic tanks. Typically, all these tanks will store gases like oxygen, nitrogen at a temperature well below minus 150 degrees centigrade. At such a low temperature, conventional tankages do not work. The carbon steel will not work. Some special materials are required. So normally these are all double-walled vessels where the vessel of storage is stainless steel, and then we have the outer jacket of carbon steel or stainless steel, and then we have something called a super insulation or extremely different kinds of insulation technologies under vacuum, which is like so this is a technology by itself, and it is not a commodity product where anybody can produce that. As you could see that globally we are among the top 10 companies in the world who are producing such a kind of a specialized product, and therefore the competition is very difficult to come in because this is highly engineered, it requires a lot of certification to produce. So there are challenges both in designing the product, manufacturing the product, and making it very reliable on a large scale. So that keeps the competition away.
Thank you very much, sir. You really explained me to my satisfaction and my understanding. Thank you very much for it. I mean, there are, you were talking about automobile tanks. That is, suppose in a Tata truck, we have to fit in a LNG storage tank. So, I have heard of Everest, Kanto and Confidence Petro making lot of cylinder type or tanks meant for fitted into automobiles. So are they our nearest competitor in that segment or no? Kindly reply.
Kanto and others will produce the high pressure cylinders in which you can store natural gas and make it CNG. And CNG is the one which is supplied, or these are the CNG storage tanks. Now these are storing the natural gas in the gaseous form at room temperature. As against that, what we do is that we provide those tanks which can be fitted onto the Tata or Ashok Leyland or any other truck, which is in the liquid form at extremely low temperature. And because it is liquid, it is much more denser than the gas that you are putting it even under high cylinders. So what we deliver is a completely different product and is suitable particularly for large quantity of fuel to be stored in a truck. So that has the longer.
So these fuel tanks are roughly around 450 liters and it goes in one stage around 700 kilometers in one fill. So that's the advantage of these fuel tanks.
Right, sir. I'm really thankful. I mean, now I establish that you are one of the prominent niche player in this, and you have established yourself to be a responsible and reliable supplier of these items. Sir, one more question is coming to my mind is about scientific product. When you say we make scientific product, means what?
We do make scientific products because such low temperature science requirements come up for a very research application, which would give for, let's say, for helium distribution, which is minus 259 degrees centigrade. So these kind of things which are requiring a very...
So either for making experiments or dwelling or using such critical products under such temperature that people would require these kind of products.
Absolutely. Scientific, we can say we have supplied so many equipments from the second launch pad. So whatever launches you are seeing from the Sri
Okay. Sir, my last question is regarding our raw materials. So all our raw materials are indigenously available, or we have to procure, or are we improvising on basic metals that we receive and make it usable for our end?
Normally, our vessels require the inner vessel is of stainless steel, austenitic stainless steel, and outer vessels are carbon steel. Both these materials are available in India, but depending on the customer requirements, if somebody asks for a foreign material or we import the material from other countries, but there are specific valves, control valves, and many other equipments which are not readily available in India. That time we have to import those components.
Okay, so where we are not supplying tanks, you are supplying the other additives for, as you said, that as a kit for converting liquid into gas in operation. Such other parts are being procured by us.
So
or do we manufacture certain more parts other than tanks?
For conversion of kits, we don't do anything. There are conversion parties who are involved into it, but we support them from our tank side and the operation side so that we make a success for the owners of the tanks.
So we will never take an order
we request you to please rejoin the queue for follow-up questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to please restrict your questions to one question per participant. The next question is from the line of Chirag Kaskiwala, an investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So, as you get 50% of your revenues from export market and 50% from domestic, so globally, Linde PLC is the market leader along with, a few other players. So how do you see yourself, in terms of facing the competitive challenges from the global leaders? And in the domestic market, do you see any risk of, let's say Linde PLC entering into domestic market through its Linde India company? And how do you plan to face that competition?
Linde is one of our customer as well. We supply for last more than 10-15 years series of tanks to their requirement, even for their projects. What you rightly said, they recently started some tank manufacturing, and the project is just started. I think they will take another 3 to 5 years to really produce good number of tanks in their shops.
May I just supplement what Deepak Acharya has mentioned? You see, as I had mentioned earlier regarding Inox Air Product, Linde is primarily a gas distribution company, and their major focus and the businesses that they are doing globally is to make air separation plants. That is what you see as a major revenue. They always require the cryogenic storage and distribution, and bulk of it is procured from outside, and we are the supplier to them on a global basis to different geographies. They do have their own manufacturing of tank in Europe, but it's a high cost, their own manufacturing and then utilization, they do it. But bulk of their requirement for Linde is actually procured from outside, and we are their primary vendor or one of the critical vendors for that. So as we see that even when their India operations grow or any other global operations go, they are not our competitors, but they are more complementary we are more complementary to them. And even if they take up any example, let us say there is a large project in India, we are the ones who supply all the storage tanks and regasification systems to them.
And in terms of commodity price inflation, how do you position yourself? Do you have sufficient bargaining power to pass on the commodity price inflation, or you might be required to take a hit on margins if the commodity price inflation goes out of control?
No, normally it is a pass-through. We are in a position to pass because there are only limited suppliers and all of them would have the same situation whenever this customer requirement comes in. So it's a pass-through for us.
Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will take that as the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you everyone for your active participation and for your questions. We hope we have been able to answer most of your queries. In case we have missed addressing any of your queries, kindly reach out to us or Investor Relations Officer Mr. Sunil Lavati, as well as our IR partner Ernst & Young, and they will connect with you offline. Thank you very much for the participation.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, Mohit. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.